Today's video is strictly for beginner drummers. So if you are currently not a beginner drummer, you have my permission to leave the room, or you can stick around because you think I'm cool. Just sit in the back and keep your mouth shut. Beginners up front, this is for you guys. Today we're talking about toms, and we're going to look at the most common questions that you'll ask as a beginner. So you're a beginner drummer, which means you're somewhere in your first 2-year period of playing the drums. Maybe you just picked up your first kit. Maybe you've been at it for a couple of months. But either way, you're going to have a lot of questions, a ton of questions in the beginning. You're going to have a lot of questions about playing, and you're going to have a lot of questions about the drums themselves. So today we're going to look at 5 super common questions that you're probably going to ask eventually, if you haven't asked it already, about toms. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. So you're standing in front of your first kit. Maybe it's a brand new starter kit, or maybe you found a good used one online, but you've made the decision, or maybe it was suggested to you, that you change the tom heads on your kit. So your first obvious question is going to be, what kind of heads do I get? Now, if you've already started looking around, you probably discovered that you got a lot of options. There's a lot of stuff to choose from. If you want to eliminate a lot of the guesswork right off the bat, all you want to do is move up to a good 2-ply skin. So the first most popular and obvious choice, if you're an Evans person, G2, clear or coated, that's your choice. But especially if you're coming from a starter kit, if you just move up to a set of G2s from Evans, your kit will sound significantly better as soon as you put them on. Now, if you're a RealFeel person, then an Emperor is your thing. It's basically the equivalent to the G2 from RealFeel. But that's all you're going to do. From your starter kit, you're going to move up to a good 2-ply skin, either an Evans G2 or a RealFeel Emperor. Now, as far as the sizes, depending on the type of kit that you bought, like if you bought a starter kit anywhere under, especially under 500 bucks, it's most likely going to be the same tom configuration. So a popular configuration for starter kits is 12, 13, 16. So, 12-inch tom, 13, and a 16-inch floor tom. If you bought a kit over and above that, anywhere under 1,000 bucks, you might have a 10, 12, either 10, 12, 16 or 10, 12, 14 floor tom. Either way, tom packs are available. So you can just get them all 3 toms in one box. Evans does this for sure. I don't know if RealFeel's doing this yet. I haven't kept up with them. But with Evans, you can definitely grab a tom pack. Boom, all your sizes are in there. Chuck them on the kit, good to go. But yeah, those will be completely suitable upgrades. I'm going to leave some Sweetwater links down in the description box. I am a Sweetwater affiliate, so all you got to do is click the link in the description and take you straight over to the store, and you can do some shopping. So this, of course, leads to the next obvious question. Clear or coated? What's the difference? Which one should I get? Well, at this point, to be honest with you, especially if you're still within your first 2 or 3 years of playing, the differences between the two shouldn't be much of a concern right now. Right now, you just want to be concerned with learning how to play. The sound differences between the two, basically, coated heads are a little bit warmer sounding. So you might find that the sustain is just a little bit warmer on coated heads. Clear heads, generally, you get a little bit more attack off the top. But like I said, if you just started playing, none of this stuff matters to you. All you want right now is for your toms to sound good when you hit them. But if you're curious about the difference between clear and coated, that's basically what it is. One thing I can tell you for sure, if you decide to go with clear heads, they're going to look super pretty on the kit when you first get them on there. Within like 3 months, it's going to look like you've been playing paintball around them. You haven't really developed your accuracy on the toms yet, so they're going to be stick marks everywhere, and they're eventually just going to be covered in stick marks. So while I got all of my beginner drummers here gathered in the room, I can't let you go without telling you about this. Now, I don't know if a lot of y'all knew this, but I have an ebook. I got an ebook out that's called The Beginner Drummer's Handbook. And basically all of that is, I compiled a list of almost 100 questions, 100 common questions that I would get asked all of the time by customers while I was working at a music store. So these are all categorized by, you know, whatever it is, cymbals, kick drum, hardware, snare. They're all categorized and they're all put in one book. And basically all it is, the most common questions that you'll ask as a beginner with their answers. So this downloads right to your phone. All you need is a good PDF reader on your phone. And whatever question that you'll have while you're standing in that music store, maybe you're standing in front of the stick wall trying to figure out what sticks to buy, what heads should you get, you know, what type of hardware, whatever. All of your answers are going to be in this ebook. So this is just to help you just be a lot less confused as a beginner drummer when you walk in, because everything's going to be an education at first, right? So this is going to help you make all your decisions, figure out what to buy. It's going to answer all your questions regarding your beginner kit. Should be all in there. So I will also leave that link in the description box. You can download it. It's only a few bucks, and it'll download straight to your phone, and right away you start thumbing through all your answers. Now, another common question that a lot of beginners ask, especially after buying a used kit, they'll get it home and they'll wonder, how do I know if these heads need changing? Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can determine whether your tom heads need changing. The first one is quite obvious. It's just a visual. Just take a look at them. If they're full of pit marks, then it's an obvious sign it's time to toss them. Another good thing, especially if you just bought a used kit, another good thing that you can do, take a drum key, loosen all your tension rods. If the head sinks in the middle, if it caves in, it's most likely toast. If you crank those tension rods back up and there's still a dip in the middle, there's your sign right there. But generally, if you loosen them and then all of a sudden you got a giant crater in the middle of the tom head, you can't bring those back. You can if you want. I mean, you can get a hairdryer or something and try to bring it back to life, but just toss them. They're just no good from that point. So your next obvious question, now that you've found the heads that you want for the top, do you need to change the bottom heads? And the answer to that, it might change depending on who you ask. I'm here to tell you, no, probably not. The bottom heads don't get a fraction of the wear that the top heads get. So you can leave them on there for a long time. This kit back here that you've heard a million times already, I've had this kit almost 10 years, still got the stock rezos on them. And you know how good this kit sounds. So yeah, I mean, you can change them if you want. It's up to you, I mean, if you got the budget. But generally, like if you take a look at those bottom heads, even after 10 or 12 years, they're still gonna look pretty new. So let's say you got your top heads now picked out, you're standing in the music store, you're talking to the sales rep, and they just told you that it's not necessary to change the reso heads, but you thought you had to. So now it's in the budget. So now, your next question, what do I put on the bottoms? The only thing that you really need to know is that for the reso heads, you don't have to get fancy, all right? There's not a ton of choices necessary. If you're an Evans person, clear G1. If you're a Remo person, clear Ambassador, all right? You just want a thin head on the bottom. That's it. Stay away from thick heads for the resonance side, all right? So nothing 2-ply or, you know, don't go sticking hydraulics or anything on the bottom because it's just too thick. The resonant head needs to move. This is where you're gonna get all your tone from and all your sustain. So if the head's too thick, then it's just gonna sound like your tom is filled with sand. So the stock head on any new drum kit, it's most likely gonna be either clear G1 or a clear Ambassador from RealFeel or whatever equivalent from any other company. This one you're seeing here, obviously coated head. This is let's talk about thickness before I even get into this. The general thickness for the resonant side skin on your tom is 10 mil. 10 mil, in my opinion, is the thickest that you'll ever need to go for a resonant skin. This is the Reso 7. This is a 7 mil skin, so it's a little bit thinner, and these things sound friggin' awesome. Because it's a little bit thinner, you know, you get a little bit more sustain out of them, which I love. Like if you're a metal drummer, you might not dig this, but you know, the way I play my toms, I like to hear them kind of sing out a little bit. Having a thinner one on the bottom, that's really gonna get the job done. So yeah, don't overthink the resonant side. Again, either a clear G1 or a clear Ambassador from RealFeel, or you can check out these Reso 7s if you're interested. I will leave that Sweetwater link in the description. Now I'm gonna throw one last question on there because there's almost no way that we can avoid it because we're talking about changing heads and all this kind of stuff. Most of you out there as beginners, you're gonna be buying new heads for your kit before you know how to tune them. So that's gonna be your next question. How do I tune my drums? One thing that I'm going to promise you right now, hand in the air, it's not nearly as hard as you think, and definitely not nearly as difficult as a lot of tutorials out here are making it look. Do not be intimidated by tuning. One thing I will say is that you must learn how to tune your drums. I don't know why there are still a lot of drummers out there that know how to play them, didn't spend any time learning how to tune them. It's just something we got to know how to do. You can't own a car without learning how to put gas in it. The only thing that you need to know about tuning drums is that you want a good relationship between the top head and the bottom head, and there is a super easy way to get that done. So I'm going to leave the link in the description box. I have a tuning workshop on toms. I actually have a tuning playlist on my channel. So there's a video on toms, there's a video on snare, and there's a video on kick. If you just take the time, watch those videos, you're gonna be shocked at just how easy it is to tune these things. You're gonna get the same awesome results as, you know, the much longer methods will give you, just in a fraction of the time. So again, I will leave that link in the description. Make sure you go check out the tuning playlist. After you bought all your heads, you're ready to throw them on your kit, time to tune them up. All you need is a drum key and maybe 15 minutes. So that is a wrap. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it helped you out a little bit. New viewers, new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. Right there is a subscribe button. Mash that before you bounce. Make sure you visit the merch shop. You still got time. The sale, we got a summer sale going on until July 31st. Use the discount code SUMMER21. Get you 15% off. If you want to grab something from the shop, cool t-shirt, cool hoodie, mug, whatever. It's a cool way to support the channel. Other than that, that's it. Share this video if you dig it. Drop a comment below if you got one. Like, subscribe. See you next video.